The bell above the door of Hackett's finest cuts jingled like a nervous laugh. Inside, the air hung thick and metallic, a cloying mixture of raw meat, sawdust, and something vaguely sweet beneath bleach fighting a losing battle. Fluorescent lights buzzed overhead, casting harsh shadows on the gleaming white tiles and the rows of crimson cuts displayed behind pristine glass. Silas Hackett stood behind the counter, his massive forearms resting on the scarred wood. His apron was startlingly white, except for a single, fresh, dark smear near the hem. He didn't smile as Mrs. Gable ordered her usual 2 pounds of ground chuck. "Quiet today, Silas," she chirped, trying to ignore the unnerving stillness of the place. Usually the low thrum of the giant walk-in freezer or the rhythmic thunk-thunk from the back room provided a grim soundtrack. Today silence pressed in. Slow, Silas rumbled, his voice like gravel in a tin can. His eyes, small and dark as currants, fixed on her, not blinking. He weighed the meat with deliberate slowness, the heavy brass scale clinking. As he wrapped the package in crisp white paper, Mrs. Gable noticed his hands. They were immaculately clean, the nails trimmed short, but the knuckles were swollen, the skin raw and pink, like he'd been scrubbing hard, too hard. "Anything else, Mrs. Gable?" His gaze hadn't wavered. "No, thank you, Silas." She took the package. It felt cold and heavy, unnervingly dense. "Say, is young Billy helping out back today?" "Haven't seen him." Billy was the butcher's teenage apprentice, always whistling tunelessly. Silas's expression didn't change. "Billy moved on, unexpected opportunity." He wiped his hands on the already spotless apron. "Out of town." The way he said "out of town" sent a chill down Mrs. Gable's spine that had nothing to do with the refrigerated air. She mumbled a goodbye and hurried out, the bell jingling again, sounding more like a warning this time. Alone, Silas turned the open sign too closed. The buzzing fluorescents were the only sound. He walked to the heavy steel door leading to the back. The thunk-thunk started again, rhythmic and deep, vibrating through the floor. It wasn't the sound of cleaving bone. It was heavier, wetter. He pushed through. The back room was a cathedral of carnage. Hooks hung empty. The massive chopping block dominated the center, its surface dark and deeply scarred. Blood, old and new, stained the drain in the concrete floor. The source of the thunk-thunk was Silas's massive industrial grinder, its maw slowly devouring thick, pale strands of something that didn't look quite like pork shoulder. It was stringier, with a bluish undertone. Silas picked up a stray piece from a stainless steel tray. It was long, thin, ending in 5 smaller, articulated nubs. He regarded it dispassionately, then tossed it into the grinder's churning throat. The machine whined, accepting its offering. He walked to the giant walk-in freezer. Frost coated the heavy door. He pulled the handle, the seal breaking with a sucking gasp. Frigid, meat-scented air billowed out. Inside, hanging from the central rail, swaying slightly in the disturbed air, weren't sides of beef or lamb carcasses. 2 human forms hung by their ankles, naked and pale as marble in the blue freezer light. Young men, frozen solid, ice crystals glittering on their skin like morbid diamonds. Their faces were slack, eyes wide and frosted over, mouths open in silent, final screams. Billy was one of them. The other was a drifter Silas had offered room and board just last week. Silas ran a thick finger down the frozen calf of the drifter, his touch almost tender. "Special cuts," he murmured, his breath plumbing white in the frigid air. He looked at the grinder, then back at the hanging meat. "Got a big order coming in tomorrow. Gotta keep up with demand." He stepped back, pulling the heavy freezer door shut with a final, echoing clang. The thunk-thunk of the grinder was the only sound left, a steady, hungry heartbeat in the blood-scented dark. Outside, the sign on Hackett's finest cuts gleamed innocently under the streetlight, promising quality. Silas picked up his sharpening steel and began to draw the long, curved boning knife down its length. The sound joined the grinder's rhythm, a grim lullaby for the silent occupants in the cold room. Business, after all, was business, and Silas Hackett prided himself on using every part.